Why do we always picture witches flying on broomsticks? Is it just a quirky detail from fairy tales, or is there something more to it? The answer is stranger and more fascinating than you might think, and it takes us on a journey through history, folklore, and even pharmacology. Let's start by clearing up a common misconception. The idea of witches flying isn't a new one. It's been around for centuries, long before Halloween costumes and Hollywood movies. But the broomstick? That's a later addition to the story. Early accounts of witches' flight describe them riding on all sorts of things: pitchforks, shovels, even animals. So where did the broomstick come from? And why did it become the go-to vehicle for every self-respecting witch? To understand this, we need to dive into the world of medieval Europe, a time when belief in magic and witchcraft was widespread. People genuinely feared that certain individuals, mostly women, could make pacts with dark forces to gain supernatural powers. One of the most common accusations was that these witches would gather for secret nocturnal meetings called sabbats. And how did they get there? By flying, of course. These beliefs were documented in great detail in infamous witch-hunting manuals like the Malleus Maleficarum or the Hammer of Witches, published in 1487. This book described witches anointing themselves with a special ointment that allowed them to levitate and fly through the night sky. The ingredients of this so-called flying ointment are the real key to our mystery. Historical records and folkloric accounts suggest these ointments were made from a cocktail of psychoactive plants. We're talking about plants from the nightshade family, like Atropa belladonna, also known as deadly nightshade, Hyoscyamus niger or henbane, and Mandragora officinarum, the legendary mandrake. These plants contain powerful tropane alkaloids, specifically atropine and scopolamine. In modern medicine, these substances are used in carefully controlled doses for various purposes, like dilating pupils or preventing motion sickness. But in the hands of a medieval herbalist, they were ingredients for something far more potent. When applied to the skin, especially on mucous membranes, these alkaloids can be absorbed into the bloodstream, inducing powerful hallucinations, a feeling of dissociation from one's body, and a sensation of flying or floating. So, the witches weren't physically flying. They were experiencing incredibly vivid, drug-induced hallucinations. They genuinely believed they were soaring through the air, traveling to distant lands, and meeting with other magical beings. Now, let's get back to the broomstick. Why a broom? This is where things get a bit personal. The ointment needed to be applied to areas of the body where absorption would be most effective. Given the social norms and hygiene of the time, a common household object like a broom handle or a similar staff or stick would have been a convenient applicator. Imagine a woman alone in her cottage applying this potent salve with a broom handle. The resulting psychoactive experience would blend the physical sensation of the applicator with the powerful mental hallucinations of flight. In her mind, she wasn't just holding a broom, she was riding it through the stars. This theory was famously explored by the ethnobotanist Michael Harner and the historian Carlo Ginzburg. Ginzburg's book, The Night Battles, examines the trial records of a group of Italian folk healers called the Benandanti. These individuals claimed they left their bodies at night to battle evil witches and protect their village's crops. They described anointing themselves and riding on various implements, which sounds remarkably similar to the witches' sabbat. It suggests that these shamanistic-like traditions, likely involving hallucinogenic substances, existed long before the witch hunts and were later twisted and demonized by inquisitors. The inquisitors, who were conducting the witch trials, weren't interested in the nuances of pharmacology. When they interrogated accused witches, often under torture, they heard these fantastical stories of flight. They took them literally. A confession about anointing a broomstick and feeling a sensation of flying was interpreted as proof of a pact with the devil and literal, physical flight. The narrative was then sensationalized and spread, solidifying the image of the witch on a broomstick in the public imagination. As the centuries passed, the literal belief in flying witches faded, but the image remained. It became a staple of folklore, fairy tales, and eventually, our modern pop culture. Think of the Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz. Her menacing flight on a broomstick became an iconic cinematic moment. Or consider Harry Potter, where broomstick flight is a central part of the magical world, transformed from a terrifying accusation into an exciting sport. The image has been thoroughly sanitized, stripped of its dark and complex origins. What started as a combination of folk traditions, the use of psychoactive plants, and the brutal realities of the witch hunts has evolved into a whimsical, almost charming symbol. The flying witch on her broomstick is a perfect example of how a historical phenomenon can be misinterpreted, mythologized, and completely transformed over time. It's a story that's not just about magic, but about human belief, fear, and the powerful effects of the natural world on our minds. So, the next time you see a silhouette of a witch flying past the moon on Halloween, you can remember its hidden history. It's not just a simple cartoon. It's a symbol that carries the weight of ancient rituals, the secrets of powerful plants, and the tragic misunderstandings of a dark period in history. The myth of the flying witch is a powerful reminder that sometimes the most magical stories have their roots planted firmly in the real world. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this dive into history as fascinating as I did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations into the strange and wonderful origins of our modern myths. See you in the next video.